10. Reptiles on Mars. Thanks to the Mars Curiosity rover, the skeletal remains of what appears to be some kind of reptilian monster have been found on the red planet. The image of the supposed creature was taken on Sol 1448, and it appears to be unlike anything we have over here on Earth. It really looks like an alien lizard, a thing with huge hind legs, and 2 extremely thin legs in the front, for a total of 6. It also seemed to have a short and curly tail at the end, kind of like a chameleon's tail. As for the head of the monster, it looks similar to a mammal, perhaps a dog with a long snout. But why hasn't NASA confirmed the existence of the reptile if the photo of the beast was captured with their own technology? It makes sense that they wouldn't say anything, otherwise it would cause widespread panic across the globe. People have freaked out over less. Some speculate that the creature was once a pet, owned by the race of people or beings who lived on Mars before it became inhospitable. It's unclear how long ago that was, but its bones are amazingly still preserved in the red Martian dust, and maybe somewhere, so are the bones of its owner. 9. Vampire Child. Archaeologists were left shocked by the discovery of a vampire child who had been buried alive at the young age of only 10. Researchers were digging at an ancient site in Italy, which they say was primarily used as a burial ground for those who had supernatural powers. The skeleton of the child was found with a stone put inside of its mouth, a way to keep the child from returning to the world of the living and sucking people's blood. Excavations were done by a team of experts from the University of Arizona in 2018, with the child's bones being found alongside other child burials. The cemetery was a mass child burial site. Professor David Soren called the discovery eerie and weird, saying he had never seen anything like it. The child is now known as the Vampire of Lugnano, and it died somewhere around the year 400 AD. There's no denying people in the past were superstitious, but could this child truly have been a vampire? Or was it simply a victim of the wild hysteria of the time, believing that those people who were sick would rise from the grave to feast on the flesh of the living? 8. Mysterious Antarctic Structure. A mysterious structure has been found in Antarctica, and nobody has the slightest clue what it is. The photo went viral and sparked imaginations. Some say it might be a massive building, some sort of secret base hidden in the Antarctic ice. The discovery was made all thanks to good old Google Earth, with the almost perfectly square structure being found in the middle of otherwise nothingness. The structure appears to be roughly 2,000 feet tall and as wide as 6 football fields. That would make it taller than some of the biggest skyscrapers on Earth, and you would think such immensity would make the structure pretty difficult to hide. The biggest issue is that nobody can just travel on over to Antarctica to see what this thing is. Conspiracy theorists believe it is a secret government base, but no one can say what the government is using it for. Others claim there's nothing to it. It's just a big chunk of ice towering up towards the sky. To be quite honest, the former seems more likely in this situation. Ice doesn't typically grow into a perfectly square tower. But then, if it is a structure, who put it there? And what are they using it for? Laurie Battistoni, a user online, had this to say. Strange that all countries want to take over land, but no country claims Antarctica. I think there is something they know that we don't. Do you think that's strange? Why do you think that is? Let us know in the comments section down below. And if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. 7. The Hand of Glory. The Hand of Glory is one of the weirdest artifacts in the world. It is the severed hand of a man who was hanged for murder. The hand was cut from the dead man, dried, then pickled, and then apparently used in magic spells. Back in medieval days, people actually made hands of glory whenever they got the opportunity, believing that the severed hand of a criminal, if prepared the right way, could make people fall unconscious. The severed hand would need to be turned into a candle and lighted, sometimes with the hair of the dead man as a wick. The hand would then give light only to the person holding it, causing anyone else who looked at the light to go motionless and brain dead. It also apparently had the power to unlock any door it encountered. One of the most famous hands of glory is located at the Whitby Museum in England. It was found in the earliest part of the 20th century, trapped inside of a wall in a cottage when a stonemason was doing repairs. It was donated to the museum in 1935 and to this day is the only Hand of Glory still in existence, though its powers have never been proven as real. 6. Sumerian astronauts. The Sumerians settled in what is today Iraq sometime around 5500 BC in the historical region of Mesopotamia. The Iraqi transport minister recently made the outlandish claim that these people were astronauts, that they built the very first airport in Iraq 7,000 years ago, and that they traveled to Pluto. According to The Independent, this is literally what the transport minister Kazem Finjan told reporters. But is it true? If the minister is to be believed, the civilization of Sumer used the airport for space exploration. However, he didn't really give a legit reason as to how they completed such an amazing feat, nor did he disclose the technology used. It's also not a theory supported by real archaeologists, who all agree the first human in space was Yuri Gagarin in 1961. It's true that some pretty amazing technology, advanced temples and pyramids were built by the Sumerians, but if they really did build the first airport, Kazem Finjan seems to be the only person aware of it. 5. Creepy night creature. Chilling footage out of India has revealed a strange figure walking down a road in the dead of night that some people claim is an alien. The video emerged thanks to a small group of motorcyclists who spotted the creepy thing walking down a poorly lit road in the eastern state of Jharkhand. The figure is very tall and slender, and it looks like something straight out of the X-Files. The figure moves into the deeper darkness, and at one point towards the end of the brief clip, it turns and looks straight at the bikers before continuing down the road and into the darkness and vanishing. After that, it wasn't seen again. The motorcyclists don't know what it was that they witnessed, though they're pretty sure it was an extraterrestrial that somehow got separated from its ship. Even stranger is the fact that at the same time that the figure was spotted walking down the street, there was a weird red light hovering in the sky in the area. NASA has not made any comment about the video, neither confirming nor denying what was seen. Rational people say it was just an emaciated person meandering down the road in a daze, while those with a bit more of a wilder imagination recognize its slender form as that of a creature that's definitely not of our world. 4. The Pyramid and the Ark. In a shocking new discovery, scans of the Dead Sea Scrolls found in Israel suggest that Noah's Ark from the Bible and the Pyramid of Giza are one and the same. That's to say, the Great Pyramid was actually the metaphorical object that was used to save all the animals from the Great Flood that supposedly blanketed the world in water. The story of Noah's Ark is told in Genesis, with God sparing only Noah and his family, and a selection of animals from across the world. Modern science has been pretty adamant that the story isn't true, and that there was no global flood of any kind. But historian Matthew Simpson is convinced that there was a flood, but that it only happened in the Middle East, with the high-ranking members of Egyptian society using the pyramid to shield themselves from the raging waters. The idea of a pyramid-shaped ark, of course, makes us think of ancient Egypt, and we know that Egypt features heavily in the Old Testament, says Mr. Simpson. He also said that it is very unlikely that there was actually a pyramid-like vessel. Can you imagine? Instead, the story is a metaphor for how the Egyptians survived the flood. This theory of Matthew's is based on the Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of 800 manuscripts thought to be roughly 2,000 years old. These manuscripts contain stories from the Bible, as well as some stories that were never even included in the Bible. Scans of the scrolls show that the bones of the ark were formed in the shape of a pyramid, and since so many other biblical stories take place near Egypt, it only makes sense that the ark was really the pyramid. It probably didn't save all the animals, but it may have saved a select few from drowning when the Nile River flooded. 3. Peruvian aliens. In the 1920s, archaeologist Julio Teo discovered hundreds of skulls in the Paracas region of Peru that may or may not have belonged to aliens. These skulls were oddly shaped and looked more like elongated cones. They were unlike anything archaeologists had ever seen before, prompting speculation that Julio had accidentally uncovered a graveyard full of alien bones. The eye sockets are way too big. The skulls are shaped like humanoids that came from another planet, and all signs point to extraterrestrial life. However, scientists today have been quick to dismiss the claims of Peruvian aliens as nothing but conspiracy nonsense. They say that the skulls do belong to normal humans. The thing is that they've been deformed on purpose, an act of cranial deformation in which the usual growth of the head is altered by tying bands or cloth around the skull to make it grow oblong. Melissa S. Murphy, a professor of anthropology at the University of Wyoming, says it was a totally normal practice along the southern coast of Peru and actually went on for thousands of years. Others say mainstream scientists are covering up a massive conspiracy that aliens not only lived alongside humans, but may have bred with them to create strange hybrids with elongated skulls. 2. A time traveler. Supposedly, a time traveler from the year 3311 has just been discovered, but experts are extremely doubtful that his story is true. According to the reports, the time traveler recently published a weird confessional tape in which he shared 3 photographs that he said he took during a mission over 1,000 years in the future. The first photo showed a futuristic city that appeared to be built on top of a floating island. The second photo was of a weird building that he said is a typical dwelling in the future. And finally, the third photograph was of a flying vehicle. He says that all these photos back up his outrageous claims. Here's where the time traveler's story goes completely off the rails. He says that he was chosen to take part in a mission back in the 1990s, in which he traveled to the future inside of a time machine, a feat apparently allowed thanks to quantum computing. He didn't reveal the name of the organization that sent him to the future, but he says it really did happen. Most people have denounced him as a crazy person, saying that his story is bonkers and absolutely fake. But there is always an ounce of truth to everything, and just because it seems extraordinary doesn't mean it didn't happen. This guy very well may have traveled to the future, who knows? And now that he's telling people, they're laughing and calling him crazy. Do you believe him? 1. Coded medieval sword. In the year 1825, a mysterious sword was discovered near Lincoln in the United Kingdom, with a cryptic code engraved on it that, to this day, has never been cracked. Not by professional cryptographers, and not by linguistic experts. It's a mystery that goes back 800 years to the 13th century when the sword was crafted. The British Library have recently gotten so desperate for an answer that they've reached out to the public in hopes that someone can solve the mystery. As of yet, no one knows what the weird engravings say. And yes, the sword is very real. It's on display right now at the British Library. It has a steel blade. It was probably manufactured in Germany, and it has a cross hilt that means it must have been associated with Christianity. It was probably used by a knight to defend the church. However, the inscription makes not a lick of sense, and nothing else like it has ever been found. It's such a bizarre artifact that conspiracy theorists don't even have a theory of their own, though some do say it may have once been the sword of an unknown legendary hero. Thanks for watching. What do you think the medieval sword says? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and come back again for another great video. See you next time. Bye!